did Snowdon go?
So Snowdon was great. We've been playing this for about a year now, me and Jack from Adaptive Mobility. Ever since we started the Adaptive Sports Hub down in Cheddington, our other hub site, we've been thinking about using those adaptive bikes, taking up some sort of hill, mountain. So Snowdon seemed the obvious choice. I know Clanberis track, people have accessed on bikes before, but never on an adaptive bike. Actually, someone has done it on an adaptive bike, but they needed quite a lot of assistance. So no one's done it as like an autonomous ascent up Snowdon. Immediately thought of Iwan. He's a T12 incomplete spinal cord injury. We've been working with him at Hobbs for the last 3-4 years. He's 4 years since his injury, but 3 years at Hobbs. He's been making amazing progress. He's still mostly using his wheelchair, but he's got these bilateral C braces which allow him to walk on flat ground and slopes, and he wanted to be able to stand on the summit of a mountain, something that he's not thought possible. And his lovely parents, Steve and Jan, have, again, never thought it'd be a possible thing they could do. Had this idea of the person in mind, and then this idea with Jack, think it was a bit of a mad idea to take these exo quads, which are like adaptive bikes that are super capable. We've used them a lot at Cheddington, but never really taken them on really gnarly terrain. On top of that, so Jack, who's a spinal cord injured person himself, and Sigurd, who owns Exotech, this company that makes the exo quads. We had this sort of plan to summit Snowdon on these exo quads. So we all stayed in this really cool accessible bunkhouse near the base of Clanberis, and then summited on Thursday morning. It was great because Iwan went up on his C braces, so he was able to be on predominantly going up with his bike, going up pretty steep terrain, and some of the steps he had to go up were sort of over a foot in height, so really put the exo quad through its paces. Ultimately, as you'll see on pictures and videos, Iwan and his parents got, I won't say right to the top because there was a few bits that were totally inaccessible, but essentially got top of Snowdon to the stones, and stood at the top of Snowdon in his C braces with his parents, and it was lovely. On the day, we set off from the base of Clanberis track, which there's two ways of accessing Snowdon summit. The P&G miners track on one side, and then Clanberis on the other side. And we thought that was more suitable for the bikes. But now I've got much bigger ambitions because it managed it absolutely fine. We went up and down in about 6.5 hours, so quite a lot of time, quite a lot of things to consider for Iwan. So although it's a powered bike, there's still a lot of core, trunk, arms that we need to be able to activate throughout. So in terms of challenges, being mindful of skin, toileting, actually just like the fatigue, it's a long time. And from me as the sort of planner of the trip in terms of the route, just thinking of what happens if one of these bikes might overturn. Iwan has a fall whilst he's up there. Thankfully none of this happened, but good to consider all these things so that it goes nice and smoothly. We also had the train, so if there was any issues, we could have come back down via the train, which stops at the halfway point and at the top. Other things the barriers or like things that were difficult, challenges, was just managing a big group, because we actually had, the trip was very kindly sponsored by Owen Mitchell, who are Iwan's solicitors prior to his claim settling. And so Rhys Dando, one of the associate solicitors that knew Iwan, came up with us. We had Caroline Hardman, one of our other physios, and other people coming up with us. We had a group of about 10 of us going up, so quite a lot of bodies to manage, different speeds of the pack, etc. So there's quite a lot of things going on in my head along the way, and ultimately making sure Iwan and his family had a good time, and no technicals with the bikes. But thankfully Jack from Adaptive was there, and he's a bike mechanic and knows everything about them. So I think in terms of for Iwan, so I saw him in clinic this morning, and his big goal is to be able to be 80% walking. So at the moment he's probably 80% wheelchair, 20% walking. He would like to flip that. And the big thing is around his rehab. So he's still coming monthly for intensive blocks. He's still making gains even 4 years after his injury, 3 years at Hobbs. Even in the last 3-6 months, he's taken off in terms of gains he's made with walking with. So he's gone from 6 months ago walking with a walker frame short distances on flat only. He's now walking with crutches outside on variable terrain, slopes, and as of today, he's now walking with hiking poles, which is pretty monumental in terms of what he can then access, his posture, what types of terrain he can go on walking with hiking poles versus crutches. And he's getting really good with, not to get too technical, but with these C braces they've got this clever microprocessor knee in the joint, so it allows him to yield as he comes down slopes and stairs, and he's finally getting the hang of that, so that's opened up a lot of opportunities for him. So I think he's not far off being default walking, which would be epic for someone of his spinal level and impairments. Tiny flickers of movement in his glutes, but he is able to walk really well with the C braces, which is epic. I was pleasantly surprised to see when I first met him a few years ago, or a couple of years ago when he started with the C braces, I thought it was a bit ambiguous, the idea of him walking with C braces, but he's totally proved everyone wrong and he's done amazingly well. In New Zealand, this was like most days for me, this type of trip. And I won't get emotional talking about it, but I didn't think that was possible in the UK. And so coming to Hobbs and having the opportunity to set up like my New Zealand vision in the UK has been huge for me. And seeing Cheddington kind of flourish with all the adaptive sports, what we're doing here in Bristol, and then taking it outside, further afield to like going up mountains and things. But prior to leaving New Zealand, I was taking clients like twice a week skiing in the mountains near to me as part of rehab. And so I'm really passionate about it, and we're getting closer to that. So yeah, selfishly, not that's bigger than me, I would like these trips to be kind of a mainstay of what we're doing at Hobbs. I would love it if we could do a Snowdon trip every year for different clients, not just spinal injuries, not just on the electric bikes, but amputees walking up, other injuries, neuromuscular or otherwise. And for Ewan, he would love to summit Snowdon again next year and maybe walk some more up the top. I think the two real standout things for me, other than having just the most wonderful family and having this lovely, well, two things were having this curry the night before at the accessible bunkhouse with people from all different walks of life. And the thing that I'm really passionate about is I don't actually see injury impairment when I'm doing these trips. I just see, if I was arranging any trip for anyone, I would think, what's everyone's needs? Whether that's a fitness thing, whether that's a dietary thing. You do that anyway, so why is it any different whether someone's got an injury? You're just different considerations. And so it was really cool staying in a bunkhouse rather than a hotel, which would be very easy, but an accessible bunkhouse with, you know, Ewan and his parents sleeping on a split bunk, like he was on the double bed at the bottom with his dad sleeping above and his mum in the room with the bed next to them. And that wouldn't be the thing they normally do, but they had a wicked time. That was my one really cool standout. And then obviously being at the top with Ewan standing on the stones with his mum and dad next to him, all being super proud, was kind of cool.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's good, wasn't it?